So, hey, Wolves fans, I've absolutely got an absolute treat for you today. I am joined by one of the top Fluminense fans joining me today, Valetin. He's got a fantastic channel as well. He's also done a great video, and we're going to be talking everything around about Jhon Arias. Welcome, Valetin, to the channel.
Thanks. Pleasure to be here.
And what's your YouTube channel for everyone to know?
My YouTube channel is Valentin's Football Corner. I'm doing videos about football in South America and about the crazy stories that this football continent really has to offer, and what I also experience here in South America while I'm traveling there, like me personally. Right now I'm in Brazil. I'm going to a lot of matches. I'm doing a lot of match day experience videos, but also talking about like crazy stories of football in South America, because the culture here is just so vibrant, considering football. And and also sometimes things happen that are just unbelievable, like in the Brazilian league when Botafogo 2 years ago, for example, didn't win the title, even though they had like 15 points of advantage over everyone else at some point, which is just crazy. And things like this sometimes they only happen in South America, and that's what I want to show on my channel, and that's my huge pleasure.
One of my friends is a Walsall fan, mate, and they were, I think, 16 points clear at the top, and didn't even make and didn't get promoted. In January, there was 16 points clear, and Wolves have thrown an 11-point lead to our nearest rivals in the past as well, which hurt a lot. So these things do happen in England, but they shouldn't really got such a big league. Listen, how long have you been a Fluminense fan?
I've been a Fluminense fan since precisely 2023, which was when I was in Brazil for the first time. And I met friends of my girlfriend and got kind of a group that's Fluminense fans. And with them, I went to see matches. I went to the Maracanã also for the first time. And it was also a very magical moment to become a Fluminense fan, because it was, for everyone who's a little bit following South American football, the year that Fluminense won the Copa Libertadores for the first time in their history, after a long time of waiting, of actually 15 years after they had been for the first time in the final, but lost it very dramatically. I've done a video about that on my channel if you want to know the whole history. And one of my first matches that I saw live in the Maracanã was the round of last 16, second leg of Fluminense against Argentinos Juniors, which is a club from Argentina, from Buenos Aires. And it's until today, I would say, the most epic game of football that I've ever seen in a stadium. Because Fluminense won it by 2 late goals in the end, and the loudness and the way the roof just flew off in those moments were like unprecedented for me, and that's how I became a Fluminense fan.
Those are the moments that stay with you forever, and we wish we had a few more of those at Wolves, to be honest.
Thank you.
Jhon Arias, then, listening to your video, it's really interesting because you give a little bit of a backstory about Jhon Arias, where he came from, that he's a bit of a late developer, obviously came through into the Fluminense team, and I love the fact that you referenced to the fact after they got knocked out in the semi-finals to Manchester City of the Club World Club, he was apologising to the fans and he was in tears, and you were saying he's the one player that shouldn't have followed. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what we can expect from Jhon Arias at Molineux when he eventually gets here and he plays for Wolves? What sort of player are we getting?
You mean as a person or as a football player? Like
let's start with as a football player, and we can talk about him as a person as well. But like in terms of on the football pitch, where's his strengths? What can we expect?
Yeah, Jhon Arias is he's a winger. He's an offensive player. He's giving many assists, at least it was did at Fluminense as well, like more than maybe your other average winger, but also scoring goals. And I always say that he's like kind of a very muscle-packed Messi, a little bit.
Muscle-packed Messi.
Don't want to compare him to the obviously like very much superior quality of Lionel Messi to every other football player, but like the playing style is kind of comparable, I think, in some ways, or at least they have some of the same strengths. There's like Jhon Arias is a very good shot. He can He can do set pieces and stuff. He scored a very beautiful goal against Ulsan at the Club World Cup like this.
I saw it. It was a great fit.
The most beautiful goal of the most beautiful goal of the competition. But he's also a good dribbler, and that's where this muscle thing comes into play, because if you look at him, he's small, just like Messi.
How tall is he?
I don't know exactly, but it would be 160 something, 70 something. He's really not big.
He's quite. He's got a very low center of gravity.
Yeah, guess so. But he's really, really well trained. His muscles are really developed. If you look at his body just as a player, and like this, what I think is his biggest strength, he just sometimes manages to squeeze through like 3 opponent players with the ball on his feet without losing the ball, when normally other players would either get fouled or lose the ball and stuff. But that's something that he can do, and that no one else in the Brazilian league really could do like that, and no defense of the Brazilian league ever really could control, and also some European defenses that the Club World Cup couldn't control. And that's why that's what I would say is his biggest strength. He's incredibly tough and hard to defend in this.
Would you say he's quite a direct player? He's always looking to try and create an opportunity or score.
Yeah, he's trying to run through the defense of the opponents, but like, because he can, I'd say sometimes it might look a little bit like Mission Impossible, but he can actually squeeze through those defenses. And I don't know if in Europe that's going to be a little different than here, because in South America teams tend to play like trying to force a way through one side and then get a cross in. And in Europe, it's a little bit more like trying to go from one side to the other to create space. And I don't know if this is going to be a bit detrimental to the playing style of Arias, or if Arias' playing style could actually bring a new element into the tactical development of Wolves. But we're going to see that. And in any case, I think he's quite straightforward, quite direct, and then often gets crosses into the middle, and that's how he gets his assists.
Can Jhon Arias play anywhere across the front 3, sort of on the side or through the middle? Is he more on the side, would you say?
He's more on the side, I guess. He's more on the side. I guess he never really plays in the center. I think on the sides he can play on both. Like at Fluminense, he switched sides often, because just also to create a little bit of variation in the offensive play. But he's a winger. He's not a striker. Yes.
What's his pace like?
His pace is quite well. I think that's not a thing that he often uses, I guess, because he's often playing the one-on-ones against other players.
Now, you see, it's interesting you should say that, because it's on record that our manager, our head coach, Vitor Pereira, he has said for this summer he is looking for players that are excellent in one-on-one situations. And from what you've just said there, it seems like Jhon Arias is exactly built for that.
He is, I'd say. He's not even excellent in one-on-one situations, but also, like I said, in even 1-on-2 or 1-on-3 situations. That's like the thing that's his absolute strength, at least here in Brazil, and also at the Club World Cup. We have to see, because obviously, like, also the physical level in the Premier League will be higher, and he will have to go against tougher opposition as well. But basically, that's his strength. And so, if your coach said this in the beginning of the season, I think he found a really, really good match for that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Well, how do you think he will adapt to the Premier League? I mean, it's often said that the Premier League is faster in a lot of ways. You know, it's obviously a globally watched league, and if we saw Mateus Cunha that came into to Wolves, took a little while to settle. Do you think he will be able to hit the ground running at Wolves, or it will take him a little time to settle in?
That's a prediction that's very hard to make for me, I guess, because I've never seen him play in like several games in such circumstances. I think his advantage is that Jhon Arias is a player who's really hard working and really honestly working on that. I think he's going to be ready to give everything that he can, And I think that's already something very variable that's going to enable him to hit the ground as running as he can. I'd say maybe he needs some time to adapt. I don't know. Against Chelsea, like in the semifinals in this Club World Cup, you could see that he had his problems. I think it will also be possible for some opposition teams to adapt to his playing style. That's it'll depend on how well the opposition is prepared and on how well Jhon Arias will adapt to this, I guess. As I said, I think pace and how fast the game is will not be that big of a problem. It will more be like how many balls the opposition will allow Jhon Arias to get in the first place, and with how many players they're gonna try to tackle him down. That'll depend. And I have to say, I don't follow the Premier League that closely. I don't know like details of the playing styles there. So that's a thing that I can't really say as a prediction. I can only make assumptions, and we'll have to see in the end.
I'm guessing you'll be watching with interest. Obviously, Wolves got quite a bit of a South American influence, especially in the last few years. He'll know Jhons Mosquera, for example, who's
yes, I've heard the name.
Colombian, who's been out with an ACL but should be coming back in, so he'll obviously know him. Is it Andre or João Gomes that he played with?
Andre at Fluminense.
He was,
Fluminense comes from the youth of Fluminense. He's never played for another club, also as a boy before. So yeah, Andre is also a very, very important player in the history of Fluminense. Yeah.
Well, Andre is not the biggest player in the world, but he's also very strong, and he's he's coming, and he is like alongside João Gomes, the middle of our midfield. He's absolutely fantastic. He hardly loses the ball, and I think coming over here as well, Jhon Arias will know Jhon. There's quite a few people that speak the Portuguese, which is very similar to what he'll know. He'll know Andre, so that I think hopefully he'll be able to fit into the dressing room quite a bit because there are people that will know. But what do you think? Because looking at the Club World Cup, he won, as far as I know, 3, which is off your by the way, 3 man of the match performances. And I think he's pictured here with third. What's this trophy that he's got here?
That's the bronze ball of the Club World Cup in 2023. That was like still the old Club World Cup model.
Yeah.
And the year they won the Libertadores, but they played the final against Manchester City and lost it 4-0. But Jhon Arias left a very, very good impression, and as they normally give like one of the 3 balls, like gold, silver, or bronze, to also one player of the losing team. Jhon Arias to be the best of Fluminense. Yeah. And
that was in 2023. And in this year's tournament, he was named in team of the tournament as well, I believe. Yes, I think so. I don't know if there's like one official team of the tournament or several media that do team of the tournaments, but he very often appeared in those team of the tournament squads, and he was definitely one of the most shining players in this Club World Cup as well. So what would you describe his personality? We've talked about his football prowess, what he brings in terms of his directness, his strength, his low centre of gravity, his directness. He's got an eye for goal as well. He's scored a few goals. He can take a great free kick. But what about Jhon Arias, the man? How will he fit into a dressing room? What is he like as a person?
Well, obviously, I've never met him personally. I only know what you see in the media of him, but I think that already gives a good picture of what his personality is like. That's what I've talked about in my video also extensively.
You do, which was really interesting because you said he was very humble.
Yeah. That's at least the impression that he gives, but also like the impression he leaves on the field, because the way he plays is also very honest, I think, and he never exaggerates his own role or his own personality over others. He's aside from being a very late starter and having started his professional career at 21, which is in today's football very, very late, and he's played in Colombia for smaller teams and for bigger teams that he joined Fluminense at. Must have been He's 27, so 24, 23, I guess. So that's when he joined like the Brazilian stage for the first time, and it took even longer for him to become like a world-class player. And in all of this, I think he achieved it because he never exaggerated his own role or thought he was something better, but really always tries to give the best of himself without admitting that he's kind of a legend or kind of a good player. Always tries to let his performances speak, and that's a really, really good thing. That's why at Fluminense he was very well respected as well. Because normally, like when players go to Europe, here in Brazil, fans are obviously upset and don't like it very much. But it's become normal in today's times. But Jhon Arias was really like the vast majority of Fluminense fans were like, we respect you, we respect your choice after all you've done for the club and the way you've done it for the club. We can really not grant you this wish to go to Europe and play in another context. And yeah, that's his big strength, I guess. Never exaggerating his role. He can assume leadership, I guess. There are videos of him like taking parole in the Fluminense dressing room and also heat up the team before important moments. Even though Portuguese is not even his native language, but he's learned it obviously here. But in the end, he's very humble and never exaggerates himself, I guess. But he's able to lead as well, very honestly. And that's something that I think is very healthy for every dressing room.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's great to hear that, you know, we see that the Fluminense fans really would love him to stop. You don't want him to leave. But
Sure.
Because of how he's been with the fans, how he's respected the badge, respected the shirt, that they're kind of like, we know that this is your dream, and we wish you very, very well. In fact, he played the other night, didn't he? Did he get a great reception?
He played against Cruzeiro. That's true. I haven't been to the Maracanã for this game because I had other plans, but I saw how he was like after the Fluminense lost 2-0. So normally after matches like this, the fans are upset. They don't want to throw a party. They don't want to express themselves very much. But with Jhon Arias, when he came over to the fans and waved his goodbyes, the fans will start to chant for him and really give him a proper goodbye, even though they had just lost the match. So you can see that Jhon Arias also is like bigger than only one defeat or one match for Fluminense. This wouldn't have happened maybe with everyone, with all the players. And yeah, and also like one thing that's important to mention here, I think, is that Jhon Arias wanting to play in England, he never made false promises as well. He never said, I'm going to stay at Fluminense forever, even though he got his contract renewed in the beginning of the year. But it was clear that from the beginning on, he said, if there's a good opportunity for me to go to Europe, then I'll take it. And there were many that he turned down, also outside of England.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who did make approaches for him, and why do you think he's waited until now?
There were several clubs actually, often not from the like top 5 leagues, as you said, but like bigger clubs from other divisions. Notably, I think there was Girona from Spain who've made an offer, but it was turned down by the club Fluminense because they simply weren't paying enough money for Jhon Arias. I think Arias would have been ready to go there because it was the Spanish league, but obviously like it was, I think, 7 million euros at the time, and Fluminense were like, we're not taking that. And notably, there also was Galatasaray in Turkey, but also there was, I think, Jhon Arias didn't really want to play there, and also they weren't giving enough for him in money terms. And most notably, Zenit St. Petersburg were making an offer that financially would have been accepted by Fluminense, but Jhon Arias was like, I'm not going there. I want to play in the Champions League. I want to play in European continental competitions as well, which obviously isn't possible at St. Petersburg right now. And that's one main reason, I think, why he turned down himself this offer. And that's like the three main offers.
Feyenoord, another one that came in for him, was it, or Ajax?
There were like, Feyenoord was making an offer, but that's one you didn't really hear about here in Brazil. And a fifth one that I don't even remember right now. I think that there were also offers that were turned down quite quickly and where it was obvious that it wouldn't work.
So Jhon Arias has got aspirations of playing at the highest level of Europe. You talked about European Football Champions League. Obviously, our team, Wolverhampton Wanderers, we had a difficult season last year. We were in real trouble. New manager came in. We managed to get out of it, and I think we finished 16th in the end, just above the relegation. Well, we were a long way above the relegation zone in the end, but a long way down the table. But Wolves have, in the past, finished in European positions under Nuno before that. But like Wolves obviously are a team that's sort of down the bottom at the moment, hoping to push on. Why do you think Jhon Arias took the opportunity of going for Wolves? And why do you think that wasn't other clubs maybe in that sort of top sort of 6 or 7, like a Chelsea or a Liverpool or a City or a United hasn't come in for it? Because Wolves are buying for around about £17 million with, and there's add-ons. Why do you think Wolves?
Yeah, I think there's several reasons that come into play. Maybe firstly, simply because Wolves made the good offer at the right time, because they were the first English club that were making a bid for him. And Jhon Arias was like, I'm not going to miss on this opportunity. He's not a young talent anymore. He's 27. He's probably at the height of his career. And so very probably like the bigger clubs like Manchester City, Chelsea, who already have like heaps of stars, or like Chelsea have a huge squad like overall. It's likely that those teams wouldn't have made a bid for him. And Jhon Arias was like, I want to take this opportunity now to show myself on this on this stage. What's interesting is that you have to mention that he didn't do it for money. Jhon Arias, if he had stayed at Fluminense, would have won considerably more money than he will earn at Wolves, which is also one thing that it's kind of a Jhon Arias thing to do, I guess, because it reverberates his personality. Because oftentimes he took opportunities in his football career. He didn't do it primarily for money. Of course, at Fluminense, he was one of the highest earning players in the Brazilian league and stuff. So that's also important. But he doesn't do it because he will earn more at Wolves. But I think, he was quite precise in saying that he wants to play in England. He wants to play in the Premier League. He thinks it's the best league in the world. So he was just taking the opportunity, and maybe we'll see in the next years. We don't know. He also has aspirations to show himself at this stage at Wolves, and then probably get contracted by another bigger club at some point. Also, Fluminense were insisting on having 10% of a future transfer on a sell-on. So I think also Fluminense are kind of betting on this, that it will happen, that Jhon Arias won't stay at Wolves forever and move on to some other side for quite some money at some point. But we have to see. That will all depend on his performances, obviously, and how he'll develop there. So those predictions are kind of hard to make right now.
No, that all makes sense. And Wolves, like, you look at Mateus Cunha, we bought him. He's gone. We just frustrate Wolves fans. Actually, sometimes we get these players and then they go, but and our fans get upset about it. But like, as I've said many times, transfers happen. You're talking about your club there, Fluminense. You don't want him to go, and Wolves have come in, and he's going to Wolves. And I like the fact that you said he's humble. I like the fact that you said at the start of play that he is, because he sounds like someone that wants to develop, wants to play at the highest possible level, wants to test himself. And to me, it sounds like we've just got an absolute diamond. And if we keep him for 2 or 3 years, and it helps us progress up the league, absolutely fantastic. And who's to say that, with the likes of Andre, Joe Gomez, with Jhon Arias coming in, if we build, get the right players in, we can't achieve European football for him whilst at Wolves. Wolves owners show the ambition. But it seems to me like we're going to be excited. Is he the sort of player that gets you off your seat, creates excitement when he's got the ball? That you think, what's he going to do? Is he going to do?
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, those moments that he just tanks and dribbles through like 2 or 3 opponent players. The way he does this, like here in Brazil, has created such moments. Definitely, that fans will get him off their seats and just cheering for the moment he just created. So yeah.
No, it sounds absolutely fantastic. You know, it's been brilliant for you to give us your thoughts on Jhon Arias. I'm sure that you'll be tracking and seeing how he gets on.
Sure.
Fluminense didn't mess about saying he'd gone. They like put an announcement saying, you know, all the best. And Wolves, we haven't even had the official announcement as we record this. Hopefully, he'll be having his medicals over the weekend. We should get an announcement in the next day or two as we record this. And of course, Wolves fans and Fluminense fans, if you're watching this, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you found this of value, please do hit the like button. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel. But also, my new friend here, let everyone know where they can find you, because he's come on to give his time. Please leave the love for him and go and check out his content as well. If you can let everyone know, we will put the link in the description for you as well, mate.
Thank you. Pleasure for me to be here and talk about my club and Jhon Arias here from Brazil.
And what's your channel for everyone?
My channel is Valetin's Football Corner. Links in the description. I'm also on Instagram, where I upload like shorter stuff, but my main focus is on YouTube right now, where you can find all kinds of videos about football in South America. Like I said, like incredible stories, emotional moments, epic moments, but also what I'm experiencing here in the stadiums myself, with my Brazilian friends, with organized fans here from Brazil as well, that I'm discovering, that I'm making full immersion into. So if you want to take a deep dive into this football universe, which is really worth it, as I can say after 2 years of having been into it, subscribe to my channel. Go take a look there, and hopefully we see you over at my channel as well.
Absolutely, and let's hope we can convert you to being a Wolves fan. If you've not got a Premier League. If you've not got a Premier League team.
I don't have an English team yet, so we're going to see. And if ever I come by England, I'm surely going to consider visiting you at your stadium, at your place. Seems like an interesting team to me, for sure.
Yeah, we'll make you very welcome. We'd make you very welcome. And as I say, we've got a lot of South American players. I mean, so come on over to Wolverhampton. Fantastic. Anyway, thank you ever so much for giving your time. I much appreciate it. Check out his channel. Leave your thoughts, as I say, in the comments. Smash the like and subscribe to hear for more content like this. But yeah, I'm very excited about Jhon Arias. And if he's anything like what you're saying and what people are saying, we're going to be in for an absolute treat. So thanks ever so much, mate. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Appreciate it as well.